Hi design thinkers, my name is Matthew Sear, and today we're going to be jumping into Figma. We're going to be building out our variable color tokens inside of our design system. We're going to be then starting with a beginner structure. We're going to be then moving into an intermediate where we can learn how to put some additional functionality there, and then we're going to straight into our more advanced, where we're going to be setting ourselves up to be able to support multiple products, multiple brands, allow us to swap out those different stylings. So if you'd like to be able to learn how to go from beginner all the way into advanced, then you're in the right place. What I've done is I've added into the description box below, you'll be able to download the Pixelink Design System Kit where you can follow along with the videos. In addition, I've also put in there our new product. It's a plugin inside of Figma. It allows you to apply your variables like from a toolbox directly to your designs with ease, allowing you to have more control over your variables. So grab the assets, get the plugin, and sit back, relax, and let's jump into the video. All right, here we are inside of Figma. And what I've done is I've grabbed the community, the Pixelink Design System Lite, and that's all ready to go. And if you don't have that, you can jump into the community. You'll be able to look up Pixelink, or you could look at Pixelink Design System Lite. Be able to grab that, and then you can download it and follow along. So pause the video, grab it, and then let's get going. Beyond that, if you'd like, we also have the Pixelink Variable Toolkit plugin. You can be able to please jump on, download it, try it out, give us some feedback. It'd be great to understand how we can continue to improve this product for the community. So let's get cracking with how we can set up our own complete variable color set for beginner section. And then in the later video, we're going to be going through the intermediate, and then the next one, we're going to be doing the advanced. Well, where do we start? If we start, then the best actual place to start is to actually look at what does other design systems have, and how did they build that, and how did they solve these problems? Let's not start from scratch. Let's get inspired by some other fantastic design systems that are out there that we can start to play with. So if you'd like a website to try out, go to designsystemforfigma.com. I'll put the link in as well in the description box below. You'll be able to find a whole bunch of actual design systems using different types of structures, using variables and not using variables, and using styles, etc. And these are great to educate, learn, play with. So I highly suggest jump in, play with a few of these design systems, build some things with these design systems. You will learn a lot more than what you'll be able to get through a 30-minute video. So have a play. Then I would suggest check out, for example, material design. They have a great structure, and they also have a lot of good, easy to learn documentation on their design system. But we just want to get started. Let's build something. Well, before we do that, let's just think about a very simple structure that we're going to set up for ourselves to begin. Now, in the advanced course, ideally, we want this to support basically multiple products and multiple brands. So we want to set up basically a way to do that. So let's support a brand. So this is basically your branding part of your actual design system. We want to support multiple products. Let's do that. We want to have something that supports multiple products. We also have, where I was saying we're going to have some functionality and some interactions, some dynamic bits and bobs. So we're also going to be supporting different states. These are like a hover state, selected state, focus state, all these types of things. So we're going to be actually trying to support those as well. Finally, we're going to have our just base structure, which this will be more of our primitive. This will be like that starting, beginning, like they're the core colors that we're going to have in our design system. Now, there's a lot more here from, for example, what we can see on this little picture that is from the material design system. We have primary, secondary, tertiary. They are basically our actual branding base colors, or you can consider them product colors too. But then we got colors that are like more role-based, being like error states, success states, other sorts of static states that are going to be in any product and in any application. And then we've got basically down the bottom, different ways to control for our grayscales, light, dimming, etc. So we're not going to be doing quite this because this is a lot more advanced, but we're going to be able to support something like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to build out our actual primitives to begin with, and we're going to put some product-based branded section in, and then we're going to, in the next couple of videos, start getting through and understanding a lot more about these here. So I'm going to jump into my kit. I already have a bunch of variables ready to go for you if you want to play with it. They're all here. You can have a play. We have our primitive color collection. We have our color collection with dark and light. And we also have our semantic collection. So let's think about what each of these are in terms of our design system. So that primitive one, well, that's quite easy. That's basically just those hard-coded values. So what's the hard-coded value? Well, let's have a look. I'm going to have a jump up to my primitive. Oh, jump over to that light section. And I'll go to my purple and I can grab this. You can see that this is a hard-coded hex color. So that's my hard-coded hex color. Great. I've got a bunch of them. Awesome. Well, why do I have this hard-coded hex color here? Why don't I just use that inside of everything? Well, we need to create a separation where if we change this value here, that we do not need to change all of the others down the scale. So imagine if this here was tied in to here, and then we had to change it there, and then we had to also come into here, and then we had to find everywhere we used it, and we're going to have to go through and change it there as well. Throughout the entire product, they were going to have to change every place where that value is hard-coded in, which is an enormous amount of time wasted. So how do we speed that up? Well, we create the next layer. That next layer will be the combination of our product and brand. The brand will contain those primary and our secondary, and as well our tertiary. So that will be our brand colors, and these will have everything. If we, for example, just checked out some of the colors, we'll notice that we have these scale, and it changes from light to dark, but it does a little more than that. It changes from light to dark, and the hue and saturation sometimes can also change. By adapting the tone as well as saturation, we have a nice transition of color gradients that we can use across our design in different spots on our design. So we have those, and they are a part of our brand collection. And then we are going to have things like our product set, which will have states like error. Maybe you say this is damage. Then you have success. And we also have our gray. I call mine gray, but others call theirs neutral as well. So really, in the end, it's what language works for you and your team. So let's get these sorted. We need something to support this, and we need something to support this, and we need something to support this. In the design system, you'll have the colors. I already do have, for example, like I have a red set here that supports this. I have my purple sets that can support other colors. I got green to support a success, etc. We're going to do something basic. So we're going to actually go off to the side. We're going to create a new collection. And we are going to call this our new primitive colors. And if you need any help with creating some great new primitive colors, another type of plugin you can try out would be the Super Palette. Super Palette basically will allow you access to a complete palette of colors that you can choose, and it'll balance them out and give you a really good range of accessible colors to use. I'm going to use it here actually. So right over there, I want to add in my first color, and I'm going to actually add 000 because we can use these numbers as great ways to just have these key markers that we can refer to as different tonal levels. So this one being 000, we can chuck that in there. And over here, I can grab that one. And this one, I will scale this up to 100. And it depends how you want to, of course, call these. I start with 00 because I'd rather keep mine within 3 digits than scaling beyond. And you can also change it here to how you want to scale it. You can go from material design, tailwind. You can go from 1 to 10, 10 to 100, etc. And then I will be adding in my next color. And what I'm going to do is, we've got 400, grab that, let's duplicate, duplicate. All right, 300, 400, and 500, 600. All right. Here we go. I'll just actually delete that. That's 200. There we go. So I'll only do up to this point, otherwise take a little bit of time. But we've built out, let's say, our first little set. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually select these, and I'm going to actually put them into a group. Now these are solid colors, so I'm actually going to group them, and I'm going to call these initially, I'm going to call them solid, because in the end I would like to also have an alpha set, so they're not going to be solid, and it helps keep good naming conventions. Great thing is I can also use solid to search up this here as well. And then I'm going to select it again. I will actually call this my primary. So you'd create one for primary, you'd create one for secondary, and you create one for tertiary. That means that these can be your brand colors. I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to call this secondary. And let's switch this around. There we go. Ideally, you would of course start with setting this up where you have your own personal colors. You can either generate your own colors, you can do all sorts of your own colors, but we're just going to be just changing the hue. I would recommend make sure you change hue as well as the tonal, as well as potentially the saturation, so that you can create enough visual distinction for people that are vision impaired. So we're going to duplicate that again, and this will be tertiary. And I will choose maybe teal. There we go. So now I have this kind of blue, I have this green, and I have this teal color. That's my brand set. They basically will be where I put those brandy type details, or I put my main primary button. Maybe my main primary button takes the primary color. Now what we need is those more utility-based colors. They're like our gray sets that allow us to control for gray, as well as like light and dark, like as in that black or white. And we can go, let's say, and duplicate this, and I'm going to call mine a gray, because I usually use gray. It's a shorter word, it's easier to write and quicker. And what I'm going to do is I will be changing this to something like 10. That will be... Do you know what we can do? Let's just go, we'll grab the kit here. Let's choose that. There we go. We'll just copy across these colors. We're going to keep it simple. Obviously, I would recommend once you're picking these colors up, you should have some assets, trial them out on the assets. Basically, just, make sure you check what it looks like visually, make sure it's working nicely, and that would be your more ideal state. So we've got this kind of grayscale there. I might punch that up a little bit more. Maybe that hits that to a white, and just a tad below it. There we go. And I usually add in a direct dark and a direct light, though you can add that into your gray or neutral set. And I usually call it these base. But of course, as you said, you can chuck it into your neutral or your gray set. And this will be my white. Now I'll actually just use the white, and I will make it dark. Now usually though, when it comes to dark, I don't go 100% dark. So there's something. There we go. So now we have like those grayscale, now we have the dark, now we have a light. Fantastic, sweet, winning. Now let's say, an error and a success state. That's a nice and easy one. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna pick a more red, let's say. There we go. That looks nice. We have a good actual collection there. So I'll just duplicate this. This is going to be that damage set. And I will get my colors in here. So I'm actually just going to start with this being there. There we go. Done. Awesome. Now let's move to our success. Success. And I might use a green here. I might desaturate that green a tad. That looks nice. And this is where I usually can get really lost in all of the colors and just getting the colors just quite right. I'd recommend just go get some colors in there. Once you start applying them to your assets, you'll end up finding out a lot more. And when you start testing them with other users, you'll get a lot better idea about what colors are working and what colors aren't. So I would actually say, don't get too lost with getting your colors perfect first time. You won't, unfortunately. I have never, in my entire 15 years, have our damage, success, gray, base state. We have our brand colors. We have our solid. Fantastic. This is our primitive color set that we can now actually set up and basically add that extra one layer that we'll be able to put these through. That extra one layer that we're going to be adding, well, that's going to be that color set that's going to control the modes. So this will be that fundamental color layer. That fundamental color layer will be able to change for dark and light. And we're going to do it so that we have the modes. We're going to have a light mode and we're going to have a dark mode. So here we'll have a color and we're going to have one, and this one's going to be called light. And we're going to have our dark one. But before we add that in, what I would recommend is first just going through, repeating the same thing. And let's say duplicate. And what you'll be doing is basically writing out all your variables that you had in your previous collection. You list them out here. And the difference, though, is that this one here can go straight into that primary. I can go straight into that primary group, and we can actually ally this color with that set. So we called it new, I believe. And if you, by the way, want to find things and search things faster, I would recommend going, let's say, to your collection. And let's say we're going to add a hashtag. Just for the time being, we might remove it later, but adding a hashtag or adding some sort of symbol makes it searching and finding things so much faster. So I'm going to jump in. We're going to go to that color. We are going to ally that color and we're going to do hashtag. There we go. So I can go hashtag, I can go ally, hashtag. There we go. So the reason why I did this was so that when you press this plus button, there we go. We already got the ally colors in there, which is fantastic. It's one step away from us basically having our dark color set. So if I went back to that new collection, there's these new primitives down here. I can actually, so this could be solid. But let's add one more thing. I'm just going to, I added a color to just simply add a group because unfortunately you can't add a group on a group. So I'm going to call this light. I'm going to drag that up to the top here. Grab all those, chuck them in there. So what this does is it adds that extra layer, but I could actually now take this, delete it. I can duplicate it and save a stack load of time. Dark. And now I have my dark set. Now they're not dark right now, but that's where we can then start adding in those dark colors. And we can do that. I'll let you add in all of your dark colors in, but now at least you don't need to write all this out again. You just create your groups, duplicate your groups, and there you go. For this, I guess what I will do is, in the dark one, I'm just going to make these dark. So something like that. Let's say I want to do darker. That one will be a little lighter. And that one can be even more darker. Just for show. So I'll go back to that color collection. And now I can easily use the hashtag. And if you remember, we had this, it basically hashtag, and we should be able to go solid. Then we can go slash, and then we can go dark. And now I could actually just copy this. And I can assign the color, paste it in, assign, paste it in, there we go. So using keywords really helps when copy, pasting, and then finding them again when you're trying to ally your colors. So we've allied our colors, we've set this primary, and then we can do tertiaries and all of the others going down the list. Which means that anything that I apply this color collection set to will come along with the dark and light, which is fantastic. So I could go over here, I can zoom in, and I can actually be able to, actually, this is where we can use the actual toolkit. So I'll jump in here, grab the Pixelink Variable Toolkit, and we can look for color. And see, there we go, there's my colors. And I can go and I can apply that. Let's say, and I apply this as the border, and zoom in. And I can easily quickly check the dark mode, and I can check the light mode on my asset. You can see the border, and I can see that the colors change, which is fantastic. That means that we can go into the next video where we can go and then cover how to then turn this into putting it into a semantic collection, which will allow us to set up more object-based color sets and allow us to add more functionality to those objects with different types of state controls. So thank you for watching. I hope this video has helped you out with how to set up your base primitive color tokens, and I hope you're able to understand a little bit more about how you can implement color tokens into, or color variables into your own actual workflows. Please like, subscribe, basically jump in the description box below, provide feedback on the Pixelink Toolkit, provide feedback on the video. Always looking for ways to grow and support the design community more. So until next time, design thinkers, keep thinking, keep building, keep creating amazing things. And I'll see you all in part 2, where we go through the next intermediate set. All right, see you there. Bye.